Hey Christelle, comments on week four, looking at goal setting. You saw my notes on 4.1, which is a good post. You mentioned the article, so it gave me some confidence that you're reading it. You discussed some of the benefits and the consequences of goal setting and some of the potential negative consequences. I would have liked to have a little bit more on how to mitigate these. Kind of what's the role of funders, for example. How much reliance should an organisation put on goals? How much discretion should there be, both the personal and organisational goals? Um, so, yeah, more on really trying to mitigate some of the negative consequences. On the logic model, 4.2, you gave a nice logic model with resources, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact. A couple of things are nicely presented. A couple of things I want to point out. The outputs you had as a commitment, the kids make a commitment to the program. Well, that sounds like an input to me, a commitment. It's actually, I think, the actual meetings themselves is an output. So an output is something that is defined as the result of the activities that within the control of the management of it. Okay, so pretty much 100% control. But it doesn't necessarily by itself bring about any positive changes. All right? Maybe you might even say a positive relationship is an output. There's question. There becomes a slight question of whether that becomes an output or an outcome. The idea of an outcome is that it's sort of it's a positive change in the lives of the beneficiaries. Um, Outputs was not quite right. Outcome. You mentioned. I think I've forgotten exactly what the quote was. But you mentioned one outcome. I think about feeling confident with there's someone they can go to turn to. So my question is that the only outcome that's important, right? Are there downstream outcomes of that maybe are important? So sense of confidence is one thing, but I'm just curious: is that the only thing you would want to measure? If you could measure one thing and that would be it, is that it? Are your job done? Yeah. That's the kind of level of detail and depth I'm trying to get you to think about. In the application to Big Brothers Big Sisters 4.3, I thought this was actually kind of a bit weak, really. You sort of answered the questions, but most of it was I only asked for one page, and most of it you sort of copied quite a lot of from the websites on kind of the reasons for the three different programs. Maybe you feel it's a bit you've been over this a few many times, and I guess here's I kind of want to try to spell out what I mean by spelling out goals and understanding tensions between them, for example. Or the parameters around them. So you said that there were no tensions between any of the goals and the objectives and the activities, and that may well be so, but you didn't list them. So you didn't kind of name what the objectives and goals were, and that's the first thing that I asked you to do. I wonder. So, for example, one tension, I suspect there's tension, is the goal of wanting to serve as many people as possible, but also another goal or objective is to sort of maintain a high consistency of matching, right? Because without the high consistency of matching, you don't necessarily, it may not be beneficial. So that objective it's an operational objective. It's not maybe the end game. The end game being a sort of positive relationship. But there's typically going to be a tension between trying to serve as many people as possible, trying to maintain a high standard of matching, right? Because if you want to maximise the number of people served, you want to try to reach out and get as many volunteers in, whatever, and young people as possible. But if you're trying to maintain a high standard of matching, you may find that many of the people you're trying to either reach or serve or the volunteers maybe don't meet those standards. So that's just one sort of simple way there might be a slight tension. Okay. And it's understanding the parameters and the tensions about different things that an organisation's doing that helps you improve because that's kind of where you learn. Okay, we can do so much up until this point, and then we have to consider this other issue. So I mean, we can't do any more of that. We've got to start. So it's really around these sort of tensions and parameters are kind of very important. So that's why I was looking for some depth on that. That I mean, I also thought that you could probably dig a little deeper into the objective. So what again, it's coming back to the sort of logic model. Um, what is it that you're trying to? What is the mechanism by which a positive relationship brings about good things? Is it because the young people feel more confident? Is it because they have a good role model? And that if it's a good role model, then it affects the who's been selected as the volunteer. Um, um, is it to create some deficit in their lives with regard to their parents or other role models? So just a bit more sort of getting into the nitty gritty of kind of exactly the mechanism by which things you want to see things improve. I'm going to send you a link that talks more about other benefits of Big Sisters, Big Brothers program based on a randomized control trial. I thought was interesting. So it had some other outcomes, downstream outcomes beyond the improved relationship downstream of that, which is reduction in alcohol use and substance misuse. So, are these goals of the program or not goals of the program? Yeah, this is kind of where I want you to sort of raise these issues. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, all for now.